You are listening to the Sports and Sorts podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Yes, we are back. This is episode 114. We are back with our Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man. I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane,
And I'm the other host, the Bry Man.
the Bry Man, who had a couple beers last night and was
I
nervous
did.
that he was going to be a little hungover today, but he's looking spry.
Why?
Yeah, you're looking spry, real spry.
Yeah.
The beard's
Limber.
looking fierce.
Limber, yeah, the beard's getting there. We're getting there.
I like it. All right, so
thickening.
it's thickening. Yes, for you have to go all the way up to. Do you just keep going like from now until
At this point, it just goes.
it just goes? So
It just goes, and we see what happens.
he is going to turn woodsman.
Yes.
Straight
Yeah,
up woodsman, lumberjack. Like hasn't left the. He's a mountain man by the time Thanksgiving rolls around.
Oh, Thanksgiving's good. Christmas is just. I mean, there's a picture from last Christmas where I was actually looking at it like a couple of months ago, and I could not believe how big the beard was.
It was pretty.
It was just
especially when you like start shaving your hair shorter and stuff like
right.
that. Like,
That makes it more pronounced. Yeah,
It really
it's good
looks-
stuff. It's good stuff.
It's something. Things hide in it.
It does keep you warm
Yeah.
on those cold winter nights.
Your face warm. All right.
Those cold winter nights, which I love.
Your kids go and snuggle up in it and
Yeah.
pop out in the morning.
You never know what could be in there.
All right. So we have a great show today. We're going to be talking a lot of. We're going to give our Thursday night brief recap of what happened, what transpired with the Ravens and the Bengals, and we both picked the Ravens to win that game, and. I don't know. It was a pretty fun game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But
It was a fun game.
But last Sunday, we also gave our picks. I ended up going 1-3. I did not have a good opening week. I had a really tough go. You, on the other hand, went 3-1. So we'll see how that tally rounds up
start.
at the end of the year. I think last year we actually tied.
I think we tied. Yeah.
I think we tied. By the end of the season, we were actually tied. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out this year. And we did. I would say we did pretty well last year. I don't remember what the exact totals were, but I think we were 60% of the time we were right every time. I believe that's what it went.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but that's how it was. So we're going to give our Sunday football picks this week. Again, we're going to be talking several games. I think we each got 2. I have 2. You have 3. And then we also have, because you're doing a third one, basically just because you have to. You're feeling it inside of you that you need to do it. Plus, it's got a local team involved, so that'll be good. And then on top of that, we're going to be talking about the Sunday night football game, and we'll switch on over to baseball at some point in time to hopefully talk about the Yankees. Aaron Judge makes his return, kinda, sorta. So we'll see how that goes, and we will hopefully we'll be able to get to the Yankees at the end. We're going to be finishing here at around 10:30, so we got about 40 minutes left. We got a great show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
All right, so the NFL. Thursday Night Football. We got a brief recap of the Thursday Night Football game. I am prepared. This might be an emotional thing. This is kind of an emotional thing. I'm letting my emotions run wild here because of how this season has turned out so far for the Bengals and a quarterback that I kind of compare Andy Dalton to from time to time. And I'm going to say this really early in the season. I am predicting this year Andy Dalton takes the leap and has a better season than Matt Ryan. I am predicting it right now. And yes, I know I have a nice lead because, I think Andy Dalton has like 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. And, he's only thrown for a little over 500 yards. He's got like 500 and something yards. But
I'll give you the lead, and I'll spot you the lead, and I'll still say Matt Ryan has a better year because he's a better quarterback.
All right, we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. What should we put on this? Should we put a little bet on this?
Sure.
What do you want to put on it? What do you got? What do you think? What are you thinking?
Six pack of beer.
Of your choice?
No, you get to decide. But don't.
So the loser gets the disguise, but you can't be gross about it.
No natural, no natty ice, no Coors Light. None of that. You keep it real, Maybe a nice little craft brew from, the local package store is fine.
It kind of would give the loser the last laugh, right? If
if you want to be that guy, sure. But
I don't know.
I would get you something really nice if you win that one.
I could be spiteful. I might be. I don't know. We'll see.
You should be. This was kind of your idea, so if you lose. I can imagine the spike. Sure.
So the bet is in there. I say that Andy Dalton is going to have a better year than Matt Ryan. You say Matt Ryan, even with the spotted lead of 6-1.
Yeah, sure.
That Matt Ryan is still going to have a better season because he's a better quarterback than Andy Dalton.
Are there other side? Because is it just touchdowns or is it yards?
I think you kind of got to take all of it.
The whole
into account.
picture.
So you're going to do.
Like touchdown to interception ratio?
No, I think we just look at the main numbers. We look completion percentage, we look touchdowns, yards thrown, interceptions, and quarterback rating.
Okay.
Then we you know what? We can even let the audience decide.
Okay.
If we are feeling that we are a little biased because we could be.
What if the categories are kind of like split down the middle, then we can turn it over to the audience and say
I think we could do it anyway. I think we could put a vote on either Twitter or Facebook or both and just boom, who had the better season? After week 16's a wrap, who had a better season and let it fly. Now, do you get disqualified if there's an injury?
Injuries?
I don't think so.
I would say
I think health is a factor.
If it happens this week,
I think health is a factor.
All right. If one of them goes down, then
yeah. Because you know what? Because as of right now, with Andy Dalton's numbers, if he goes down in week 3, he could actually still have a better season than Matt Ryan if Matt Ryan really drops the ball.
All right. It's fine. I don't care. It's a 6-pack of beer. We're not betting a car here, so sure, I have no problem with that.
All right. So that's the bet. So we got that. So Thursday Night Football, Andy Dalton comes up, plays big against a Ravens defense that's a pretty good defense, and Joe Flacco, with some younger receivers, he's not really on the same page with yet. I wouldn't say he played the greatest game. I think there's still a lot of issues with him and Lamar Jackson. I think that he's not only looking over his shoulder a little bit, but the pressure, and he usually comes through when it comes to pressure. Flacco has been one of those guys that when he has to stare down the beast. He's beaten the Patriots in the playoffs multiple times. He can play big when you need him to, but this is a different situation. They are putting Lamar Jackson in the game from time to time, and that could be eating away at Flacco to the point of where he is maybe just getting mad instead of being focused. So I don't know if it's the same thing with him.
Maybe that's what John Harbaugh is trying to do.
Maybe.
I don't know.
They're obviously trying to light a fire under him. They are trying to do something because John Harbaugh, they even said this offseason that they were considering letting him go. They were considering firing their head coach and starting from scratch. And they decided to bring him back for another season, and he's doing whatever he can to kind of save his job. So I think that this is a good idea, but and I think the Ravens are going to play better as the season goes on. This is early on. He hasn't had a lot of rapport with a lot of his receivers. He's got to get on the same page with them. I think he will as the season goes on, and I think they will play better. I think they'll probably make the playoffs. There's a good chance that they might make the playoffs with that team. But with that being said, I also think the Bengals might make the playoffs now. They've shown me something these first 2 weeks.
I'll tell you, the Ozzie Newsome legacy is going to be very interesting. He really put because this is his last year as the GM of the Ravens, and he's really tried to put his stamp. This one, because you've heard it all year. Lamar Jackson is his legacy pick.
Yes,
and there's no question about that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out after this year. I mean, we know Flacco's the guy this year, but you know what? Beyond that, I don't know. I'd have to look at Flacco's contract and see what's left of his contract. How much guaranteed money still is on there?
Yeah.
You know, if things turn sideways for the Ravens this year, you know, what happens there? Do they actually say, well, we're gonna throw Lamar in there and see what he can do? And does that in effect end Joe Flacco's season and maybe even his Ravens career? Who knows? I can't really tell anything without looking at Flacco's contract and seeing how many guaranteed dollars are left on it. But it's definitely it's a fascinating scenario there in Baltimore. As far as the game,
I can let you know next year.
Go ahead.
He has a guaranteed for 2019, his 34-year-old year. He has cap hit of 26.5. His first potential out is 2020, where he's got a dead cap of 8.
Oh, okay. So he's
that's the real out right there.
That's a big cap hit for them next year.
Yeah, because his dead cap hit for 2019 is 16. This year it'd be 40 million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he's not going anywhere this year. Next year, they could.
They'd still save 10 million.
Right, but that's still a big.
It's still a big number. It's still a big number. 16 million is a big number to carry it up.
Yeah.
Listen, as far as the game went, entertaining game, better than most Thursday night games, that's for sure. The Bengals got out big early. Ravens, the Bengals kind of let them back, but you know what?
Green, big fantasy player right there.
Yeah, for both of us. Yeah. And what you have to like about what the Bengals did, though, and I think this has been a problem for the Bengals in recent years, is they were able to step on the throat at the end of the game and put the game away, salt the game. They haven't been able to do that in recent years, so for them, this was, I think, a pretty good step. I can't really speak to the caliber of it's still so early. You know, again, it's hard for me to make really, really good evaluations that I will feel decent about up until really week 4, because we don't know the kind of team that the Bengals beat in week 1 with the Colts. Our guess is probably not a really good team. We don't know the kind of team that they beat this week against the Ravens. But the one thing you do know about the Ravens is that is a division rivalry. So you know that going into the game, you know, the Ravens are going to be up for it. The Bengals are going to be up for it. The question is, where do we go from here with the Bengals? And really, I still need another couple weeks before I can. But you got to like the 2-0 start, and you got to like the way that they've finished off games. You know, it's hard to win a game in the NFL. So if you're a Bengals fan, if you're out there, got to feel good about this team.
Yes, and it's just so everybody knows, one more time, the bet. We have a bet.
There's a bet.
Me and the Bry Man. And if you please post in the comments in below. If you're watching, I mean, we only have one watcher right now, but if you're watching and you see this later, post in the comments and let us know who you think's going to have a better season, Andy Dalton or Matt Ryan. I have a feeling I am going to be on the minority side here, and you will have the majority, because I think most people side and they see, Matt Ryan has had an MVP season. He's got another season where he's almost an MVP. He's got 2 really great seasons, but
it's the only argument I need, Shane.
Exactly. I think that's what they're going to say. But I'm just saying, Andy Dalton has what he needs now. He's got AJ Green. He's got another wide receiver.
So
he's got 2 other receivers that are good. He's got two running backs that are good. His defense is pretty solid. They're not great, but they're solid. I think I got a good sneaky pick there. So that fantasy pick too. I mean, if he's going to keep throwing 2-3 touchdowns a game, that could be a sneaky pick right there. All right.
Sure.
Let's get into the next week, this coming week, Sunday football. We will start off. I actually will start off with this one. And I'm going to start off with the Vikings versus the Packers. And you're going to see a little bit of a trend here as this goes on. Vikings versus the Packers. Originally, I had this game in the favor of the Packers. And, the Packers are at home. It's still really early for like the new franchise quarterback, Kirk Cousins, to have a great rapport with his fantastic group of wide receivers. But then the interesting thing happened. Aaron Rodgers hurt his knee. And Aaron Rodgers, against most defenses, I would still choose him because he is the baddest man on the planet. But this particular defense scares the living daylights out of me. And they hurt him last year. I'm not just worried for the Packers, in the win-loss column, but I'm worried for Aaron Rodgers to get out of this game at all. They have the Vikings have great wide receiving talent. They have Adam Thielen. Remember that from last year? Adam Thielen laid his hands on a pylon made of concrete.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So they have him, and I think he's going to have a great game. I think Stephon Diggs, who not only has a fantastic commercial right now with the stickiness of his hands, but is another extremely talented wide receiver. They have a talented backfield with Murray and, more importantly, Cooks. They should keep pressure off of Cousins because of the halfback situation they got. And with that being said, I think the big game changer here will be based off the huge game that we saw with Jared Cook, and that is Kyle Rudolph should have a huge game this week, both fantasy and in real life. I think Cook tore apart this Packers defense, and with this Vikings team, the Packers secondary is going to have their hands even more full. So I expect Rudolph will be running wildly open throughout this whole game, putting up a monster game with big game from Thielen because I just love to sing his name, so I can't wait to sing it again next week. But the Vikings, I have the Vikings over the Pack this week, 28-20, mainly because of the injury that happened to Aaron Rodgers. Look at that timing.
Wow. Right on the bell.
Whoa.
That's impressive.
That was, thank you. Thank you.
God, I'm going to be hard-pressed to top that.
All right. You ready? You ready to rock?
All right. Well, what's my first game?
You can.
Is it my choice?
Whatever one you want.
All right.
Go for it.
All
man.
right. Let's start right off.
2 minutes.
Let's start right off with Jags Patriots.
Ooh.
The rematch of the AFC Championship game. The only difference, really, the primary difference for this game is the venue at this point because this game is in Jacksonville. I hate the whole notion that this game could be the revenge game. You cannot get revenge in the regular season for something that happened the prior year in the postseason. That is not how it works.
Okay.
It just doesn't work that way. I mean, that would be like saying, well, the Yankees, swept the Red Sox in a postseason series in 2017, but then in 2018, the Red Sox swept the Yankees in like the season opener. And took 3 games in the Bronx. No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. The Patriots are still the reigning, defending AFC champions. I will say this, though. This game, and it hinges on a couple of things. One, the health of Leonard Fournette. If Fournette is playing, obviously you have to like the Jags' chances a little bit better. Right now, Fournette himself is actually referring to himself as a game time decision, which is interesting that's not coming from the coach. That's coming from the player. It's not. It's definitely, and it's not good for me either because I actually have him in my primary fantasy league, and I really do sort of need him to play. But I mean, although T.J. Yeldon is certainly a capable backup, you really want Fournette playing in a game like this. Fournette was a pretty big factor in last year's AFC Championship game. I think my pick hinges on Fournette's status. Let's put it this way. I believe if the Jags are healthy, if Fournette is playing, I like them to win this game in a squeaker, 20-17. And that is my pick. That's my official pick. Because I'm thinking Fournette's going to be in the game. If he's not, Pats are going to win this game. And there will be no revenge of any kind. So, but as it stands,
so you think an unhealthy Fournette is better than a fully healthy T.J. Yeldon?
I don't know if he's unhealthy though. I don't know the severity of the hamstring. issue. So I don't want to comment on that. But my guess is if he's good enough to be out there, they'll put him on the field. And if they feel like he's not and he's a detriment, then if you're going to battle with TJ Yeldon, who is again a very capable backup running back, I don't know. I think the Patriots will have enough to overcome that, because I'd be more concerned about the Jags just not being able to move the ball. I mean, the Patriots are going up against one of the best defenses in the league here.
Yep.
But they should have enough to hang 17 on them. So, and if the Jags just can't move the ball, I could see them getting some turnovers deep in their own territory and allowing the Jags to, giving the Patriots a short field. So,
yeah.
But as it stands, 2017 Jags.
All right. Yeah, you definitely.
I got the bell rung on me twice there.
Yeah, I mean, you had over 3 minutes on that one. Jeez, man, come on.
Ouch.
Get your act together.
Sorry, I babble.
You're drunk.
I'm a babbler.
Drunk. You're drunk. You're still drunk from yesterday.
The hangover.
The 4 beers. They got it to you.
Why is there a tiger in my basement?
All right. Panthers versus Falcons. That's my next game. That's my next matchup here. I will start my little rant right now. This is the two quarterbacks I tear apart the most on a regular basis, facing off one another. And who will I choose to win the battle of the underperformers? Well, the Falcons' defense is fast. The Panthers' defense, with Luke injury-prone Kuechly, is also a talented bunch. But Julio Jones tends to go roast this team. You don't have to look back far to last year when he had 300 receiving yards against this team. But Panthers cornerback James Bradbury says he is up for the challenge this year to try and contain Julio Jones' production. I don't know if you buy into that much, but I also don't expect Jones to have another 300-yard game. I don't expect him to have a 200-yard game. I do expect that he'll likely have around 100 yards of production, but the big question is, can Cam Newton match the production? Last week, Cam had an efficient week, completing 65% of his passes against a craptastic Cowboys defense. But this week, last week concerns me a little, but Cam does play big from time to time, and I think he's tired of Julio Jones getting the headlines after these games. So my prediction will be that I think that this will be a good game, but since the poor man's Andy Dalton, a.k.a. Matt Ryan, has a really difficult time putting the ball in the end zone when he's in the red zone, I am going to have to side with the QB I bash the most, which is Cam Newton. I just think he will have a monster game because he's inconsistent. And he had an okay game last week, so against a really bad defense. I expect him to completely overshadow Julio Jones' performance this week, take the Panthers to a victory. I think the Falcons could surprise the Panthers with Tevin Coleman as their number one running back this week, because he's so incredibly versatile. He is like a better version of Christian McCaffrey. And I just have zero faith after a week one performance that the Falcons will be able to put the ball in the end zone when they need to. So I have the Panthers winning 24-21. I am not confident in my pick this week, or either pick this week, but I hate taking, mainly because I hate taking so many road teams. But the last drive the Falcons made last week really left a sour taste in my mouth. And because of that, and Devontae Freeman being injured, I just had to go with the Panthers this week for 24-21.
Okay.
All right.
I'm a little concerned about Greg Olsen being out. I'm worried about what that's going to mean for that Panthers, because I know his productivity in the last couple of years hasn't been as great as what you're accustomed to. They did, but they're, you know what? He better start finding Devin Funchess soon.
Yeah. Could see it this week.
So, Steelers Chiefs. Mm-hmm. This is a game that I am really looking forward to, and it's, once the Dolphins Jets turns into a debacle, which I suspect it will, I'll be turning over to Steelers Chiefs. Well, I'll have it on one TV. I'll probably have Steelers Chiefs on this TV, and I'll have Dolphins Jets on the other one. And it's great because I could actually sit in one spot in my basement where I can see both TVs.
That is
so. Great. It works out well.
Stop punching.
Sorry. So Steelers Chiefs. Chiefs had an unbelievable week last week. They looked great. They went into San Diego. San Diego. They went to Los Angeles and beat the Chargers. They're still the San Diego Chargers. I don't care. They went into LA. They beat the Chargers in that small little arena that they're playing in right now.
Yeah.
Man, the Chargers need that new stadium bad. and they looked like world beaters. I mean, they looked really good. Tyreek Hill was all over the field, just causing matchup problems everywhere. This game is in Pittsburgh. Steelers come off the disappointing tie to the Browns. Without Le'Veon Bell. And yet, I actually think this is going to be – my final score won't sound like a blowout, but I think it's going to be close to a blowout. I think the Chiefs will get a late score in garbage time to pull it closer, but I like the Steelers pretty big in this game. I think they're pissed. I think Big Ben – we know what happens with Big Ben, right? And I'm actually starting Big Ben this week over Jared Goff in I think one of my leagues because I know how Big Ben plays after he's had a bad game. He usually goes bonkers.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of game, home game, the Steelers' home game in Pittsburgh. He's gonna unleash the big arm. He's gonna go. I'm gonna say he's gonna go for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game. It just feels like one of those games where he's gonna erupt. I would say 300 yards, 3 touchdowns at the least, and I actually like him to maybe get 4. But I've got this one final of Steelers 31, Chiefs 23.
All right.
And I think the only reason it's that close is because I think the Chiefs get a garbage time score, like a late Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill 78-yarder or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am. He's kind of like my fantasy kind of pick for the, he for some reason he's never anybody's number one quarterback, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. He's always like the guy on the bench, or you can find him in the free agency pool, or waivers or something like that.
I've never understood it,
and it's because he can have those huge games, but he can also blow up your team because he can have like what he did last week, 1 touchdown and 6 turnovers, and that just completely destroys your whole week. And in the playoffs, you can't have that. So, I think that's the reason why is because he has a lot of great games, but then he has that one that just kills you, and you're looking for more consistency out of your quarterback. But I think that this week, I think you're looking at, I think you're going to see Big Ben have that huge game and huge point total. So if he's available, unless you have like a couple of I'm not starting Brady this week. Because he's going against the Jaguars. I'm not starting Aaron Rodgers in my other league this week because he's going against the Vikings and he's injured. So if there is availability and you don't have a good backup to replace him with, like I have Goff in both of those leagues, so I can put Goff in each one and be happy.
And I see normally, and I like I don't hate the Goff matchup against the Cardinals, but I just like Big Ben home against the Chiefs in a game where I know he's going to be
They play much better at home usually, so yeah.
They do.
Yeah, so all right, let's go on to, we both gave our picks for our 2 games. Now we have the Sunday night football. And then I have am I doing my bonus pick? Oh yeah, go right into it. Go ahead. Good.
Why don't I do the bonus pick, and I'll keep it quick. Yeah, because it's Dolphins Jets. A lot of excitement here locally for this game because I think everyone thinks Sam Darnold is the real deal, and maybe he is. I mean, after what the Jets did last week in Detroit, just erupting in Detroit against who knows what kind of Lions team that's going to be. I don't think we really have any idea what that team is at this point. But again, I don't think anybody knows what the Jets are at this point either. Here's the one thing you know about Sam Darnold. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to have rookie games. He's going to have games where he goes up against teams that are going to turn him over. They're going to put pressure on him. They're going to force him into bad decisions. He's going to make rookie mistakes because there's no such thing as a rookie that doesn't make rookie mistakes. However, this is not that game because the Dolphins are actually a team who sustained an injury this week. And I know you're probably going to think to yourself when I tell you that this injury could not have possibly been worse. If you said pick 5 guys on the Dolphins team that you would least like to be injured, one of the guys who is now out for the year would have been one of my 5. And you would have said, wait a minute, really? A starting guard? And I would have said, yep, because guard has been one of the biggest bugaboos for the Dolphins over the last few years. I mean, Tannehill gets hit constantly. I think the year before last when he played, he was sacked like 33 times. It's just been a constant rotation. And Josh Sitton, who was their starting left guard, tore his rotator cuff and is now out for the season, which means that the Dolphins are now going to slot Ted Larson back in. Ted Larson is a backup. He's a good backup guard. He's not a guy you want starting what will now be 15 games this year.
Yep.
Sitton was such a huge offseason signing for them. Huge. I would actually argue that it was easily the biggest.
Okay.
And losing him is devastating to this team because the Jets showed you last week that they can put pressure on the quarterback, and they're gonna be in Ryan Tannehill's face, and he's gonna make a lot of mistakes. This game's in New York. Fireman Ed is back. That team is gonna be completely fired up. It's just gonna be too much for the Dolphins to overcome. And I'm actually gonna go with a score that not only, and I thought this was really funny because my brother texted it to me yesterday as this was his prediction. Mm-hmm. And then I actually saw that same score predicted, I think, on like Bleacher Report or something. So I am going with this score. Jets 27, Dolphins 10.
Wow. That's a blowout. Oh,
Yes.
well, hey, they have one of our favorite coaches.
It appeared that they kicked our ass.
It appears that they kicked
And I just know we got our ass kicked. The film will tell that. You don't see signs of getting your ass kicked. You just get a kick.
He's the best.
It's still funny.
So stoic and awesome. All right, before we head into the Sunday Night Football game, I want you to just go ahead and, if you're watching, if you give us a click, give us a little like. We really appreciate it. Not many people watching right now. Happens on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday mornings are tough.
Everyone's having a nice little Saturday going to Home Depot.
I think maybe some people had some nice Fridays like you did.
Maybe some bed. Yeah, but I'm here.
Yeah,
Where are they?
But you have to be.
I don't have to be. We're not.
No, you don't have to be. No.
I could have said screw this.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, but it's it's a labor of love.
I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior, though.
Yeah, you are. You are. What's the matter, honey? Do you want to say hi?
Do we have an Isla sighting?
We do have an Isla sighting.
Sweet.
She just is like, no, I'm not.
Nope.
She's like, I don't want to give you any extra ratings. My face would blow up your Facebook page, and and she's like, I'm done. See ya. Peace. All right. So, actually, I was talking to Damien a few seconds ago on the little feed right here. Again, he said, "Happy Saturday." I said, "Hey, what's up, Damien? How's the rain? I hope it's not too bad." And I guess because the hurricane has kind of slowed down to a tropical storm, and I guess it's really slowed down, and they're expected to get a lot less rain, which is like 2 to 4 to 6 to 10. He's hoping it's close to 2 to 4.
Yeah, that's good. Talk to her agent.
Talk to her agent. Yeah. She's back. What's up, honey?
She's
you want to say hi? No? All right. You're just looking at the lights and stuff? Okay. All right. So we're going to get into Sunday Night Football. Let's get into it real quick. We have just a few minutes because we have about 10, 12 minutes left. I'll give us 4 minutes to talk about this. So we each get two, kind of.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
So Sunday Night Football, this matchup is looking. I'm really looking forward to this matchup because Eli, he did not look great last week. He completed a high percentage of passes, but he was going up against a top tier defense. Yep. But this week he gets a mild Cowboys defense. This is kind of really like the show up game. Like if he can't put numbers up against this team, then I might possibly jump ship on this team. Speaking of jumping up ship, I think people are finally starting to see what I saw in Dak over the last 2 years. He's pretty good. He's not great. And with a great offensive line, a top-notch running back, and a solid set of wide receivers, he can be good. Take any one of those things away, and he will be above average. And that's just how I feel about him. And I don't think that he's going to work against the Giants, Giants defense this year. This should be a tough season for Dak. And although I expect him to... What are you doing over there? It's like touching stuff. Although I expect him to I expect the Dallas Cowboys to have a good free agency or maybe even pick somebody up in the draft to kind of help him out with the wide receiver, tight end situation. Even their defense, I think they're going to slowly rebuild. But until then, I am out on the Cowboys, and I don't care for Jason Garrett. I don't like their defense, and I love this Giants team this year, both on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. I really like their new head coach. I think this will be the true test for the Giants this year, basically because they have the opportunity to destroy a team, and they should. I don't have it as a destroying number, but I do have it have them handily winning the game, and I have the Giants winning 30-20 in Dallas, which all three of my picks this week are the road team, which is something I do not like to do. But all three games I just felt like lined up perfectly for those road teams. Go ahead.
And
that was also right on the 2-minute dot. 2 minutes.
And so far, of my 4 picks, all 3 I've actually picked the home team because I picked the Jags, I picked the Steelers, and I picked the Jets. That changes here. I like the Giants in this game. Here's how I look at this game.
Yeah.
It's a must-win for both teams, but based on expectations going into the season, it's a bigger must-win for the Giants because the Giants, by many accounts, are expected to be a playoff team this year. And I'll tell you what, even though they did not win last week, they gave the Jags a good fight. They put up a good fight. And I think that should account for something because when you consider that the Giants have really sort of been retooled in a number of ways, they've added Saquon Barkley, they added Will Hernandez to the offensive line. You've essentially given Eli another shot. Yep, exactly. Yes, Nate Solder. I mean, so they really retooled that offensive line. They added again. You bring in that big weapon like Barkley, and that goes to show. And there are a lot of people still criticizing the Giants, saying, especially if Sam Darnold blows up, because if he becomes the quarterback that maybe I can't get worked up after 1 week. I can't. But if he becomes that guy, and the Giants passed on him to take a running back, regardless of how good Saquon Barkley may become, and I do believe he's going to be great. But if you passed up on a franchise quarterback to pick a running back, it's a decision that can set your team back 5 to 10 years.
I think with being New York, I think you can easily attract a free agency quarterback.
Here's my reasoning though too, because about I don't know how many years. Do you know how many years Matt Ryan has been in the league? I don't know if it's 8 to 10.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9 years.
Anyways, here my point is that 8 to 10 years ago, the Dolphins were in the same position. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved the guy that they picked. Jake Long was one of my favorite players. He was a left tackle, and he filled that position for many years in Miami, protecting the blind side of God knows however many crappy quarterbacks that they were throwing out there, not named Dan Marino. But the point is they passed on Matt Ryan. Yeah. The Dolphins passed on Matt Ryan, and as much as I love Jake Long, that's a decision that has still haunted this team to this day, because if Matt Ryan was the Dolphins quarterback, and I'm not going to say they would have won a Super Bowl, but the fortunes of that team would have been different. So the point is, if you pass on a franchise quarterback, you could be up against it. And I apologize because there's been very little game analysis here. I've mostly talked about the draft pick. But
what I for 11 years.
11 years. So that's how long ago it was. It was over 10 years ago that the Dolphins made that decision. And in many ways, you could say it still does haunt them because Matt Ryan is still a high-performing quarterback and Jake Long is out of the league. So, which is not surprising, offensive tackle. But at any rate, though, this game I think is just a much bigger must-win for the Giants because they can't go 0-2. They can't. And frankly, they're a better team. The Cowboys, I mean, did you see some of the throws Dak Prescott was making last week? I mean,
I didn't watch the game.
Some of the throws which were
highlights
where he wasn't even under pressure, and he's like short arming the ball. He can't even reach receivers, and some of them were on like short throws. We're talking like mid-range 10 to 15 yarders, and he's just he's making throws that are like skipping in front of receivers, and he just didn't look good. In general, this team has a pretty bad vibe right now. They don't have a good defense. Ezekiel Elliott is probably going to get punished in games like this because he's going to be the focal point, and the Giants are going to be able to, kind of zone in on him. I think this game. Hey, there's my man. I think this game has Giants written all over it. 23-17 Giants over Cowboys. Cam, what do you got?
He can't hear you.
Oh,
because you're on headphones. He said, "What do you got? Who do you have? The Giants or the Cowboys this week?"
Giants or the Cowboys? Who you got?
New York Football Giants or the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't know.
Just pick one. What do you think? Cool. Pop-Pop's team. Giants.
All right, he went with us.
Yeah, he's going with the
Good
Giants.
call.
He's getting ready to go play soccer.
I can tell.
Yeah, he's got his soccer stuff on. Do you want to say hi? Who do you got? Cowboys or Giants? Giants. Pop-Pop's team is Giants.
All right, it's a unanimous Giants pick. All around.
My daughter says she does gymnastics. She wants to let everybody know she does gymnastics.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, that's what she wants
good.
people to know. All right, so she's very good at gymnastics. She's very good at it, right? You like it a lot? Awesome. All right, who's going to win your game today? You have 2 games. You gonna win one or two? You don't know. I'd say
You go with
I'd say you take at least one today. You gonna score a goal today? Striker.
Striker.
Yeah, he's a striker.
He's a good striker.
He's a striker. All right.
Yeah, he's a damn good striker.
All right, we'll be right back after this. We'll come back and talk about the Yankees. I'm going to play our commercial real quick, but we will be right back after that.
Helmets drop deep to left field. Going back towards, looking up. See ya. 3,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman. 75% sports and 25% sorts.
You want to say hi? Come on over. Go ahead, say hi. There she is. She wanted to say hi to you. So you're on mute though.
Yes.
All right. So now we're going to head into
The state of the Yankees.
All right, Aaron Judge makes his return. Kind of, sort of.
Activated.
Yeah. He played 2 innings of defense.
It's sort of like when the Indians activated Corbin Burnson again in Major League 2, but at that point it was just, he was old and it didn't really matter. I mean, this is not that same example, except the point is that he can't pick up a bat.
He can pick up a bat.
He can pick up a bat, but he can't swing it apparently.
He's swinging it. He's been taking BPs.
He can't hit. He's not cleared for hitting in a game.
He's not cleared for hitting in a game.
He can play right field
yes.
and pinch run.
Yes, which is weird. But the Yankees, they showed up.
Burnson went up to take one for the team.
Maybe he'll go up there and walk. Maybe that's what he'll do. He'll go up there because
he'll go up there and get hit on the palm again, and boom, there it goes. There goes the season.
So Aaron Judge comes back, and the team responds. I mean, I don't know if I really take all that much into what happened yesterday, because he was in the lineup, not in the lineup, but he was in the.
Because they can lay a complete egg today.
He's actually active, but they responded. They scored 10 runs. It was a good 11. Showing by the Yankees. 11 runs. I forgot about the ending. So it was a good game for the Yankees. Tanaka, another great game. He's been pitching amazingly after the All-Star break.
He has pitched well.
But I will say,
a low 2 ERA since the All-Star break.
Yeah,
low 2s.
Yes, very low. Like 2.2 something or something. Yeah,
it was 2.3 going into the game, and he pitched a shutout.
So it's probably like 2.2.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So this team is it's befuddled both of us, especially in the second half. But Aaron Boone, what is your score for this guy? Because as of not yesterday's game, but the game before that, when Luis Severino was pitching, it drove me it was finally the straw.
Why he took him out?
Luis Severino was only 82, 86 pitches, something like that into the game, and they took him out to bring in I think it was David Robertson, right?
Yeah, I think so.
To bring him in. And granted, David Robertson is great and all, but you know what? He's your starter. He's been pitching well. You leave him in the game at 80-something pitches. Don't overthink it. Just don't overthink it.
Was it 1-0? It was 1-0 at that point.
Yes, yeah. Don't overthink it.
And he only needed one more out to get out of the inning. So
he's been having this issue with this all season. He just is having a really hard time reading the game. And he's done this with Dellin Betances on a regular basis, where he hasn't learned his lesson. Like, I'm going to keep throwing him in the ninth inning. Even if he's struggling, I'm just going to keep him in there. You can't do that. I mean, I guess I understand if you're going to do it, it's got to be during the regular season because you can't do that in the playoffs. So you got to get them ready for the playoffs. So as of right now, regular season manager, I am going to give Aaron Boone a D-. I think he is that bad of a regular season manager. I know he's a rookie, and you're allowed to have some rookie mistakes, but he's had way too many. He hasn't seemed to learn from his mistakes, which is really aggravating. Like Joe Girardi, I gave Joe Girardi probably like a C+ as a manager. mainly for the first several years that he was with the Yankees. He just didn't show me that he was going to bring what I thought he was going to bring as a manager. I thought he was going to be more fiery, which he started to do towards the end of his, which probably brought me up to a C+, B- range. Whereas through the first part of his career, like, he just was so incredibly frustrating to me because he never was fiery, and his analytics was almost too much at the beginning of his tenure as a Yankee manager. As it went on, he did go a little gut from time to time, but it just drove me crazy. But, Aaron Boone is so much worse. I really tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really tried to sit back and take it all in. And I didn't want to give him really a full grade at the halfway point. I wanted to give him more time, but it seems like he just keeps making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And when the Yankees were bailing him out early in the season, it seems like they just don't have, I don't know if it's the will or whatever, but they just don't have it to be able to keep bailing him out over and over and over again. And when your manager puts you behind the eight ball, it's got to be taxing on your team. And I feel like at this point, I would, unless he somehow changes in the playoffs and really takes over and really starts making some really good decisions, I would have to say it's almost a one and done for me. I at this point, I just can't take it anymore.
Wow, that's actually stronger than what I was going to come in at as far as an analysis. Our grades are not far off. I actually only give him a C-, which is, it's not good. And my primary reasons for knocking him down are basically twofold. One, well, actually it's three. One, you touched on it, not learning from his mistakes, because we've seen him make a decision and then, I think even within the very next day, go right back and do the same thing that he did the day before. And you're like, how? Like, because you're thinking to yourself, okay, he made this mistake. He pulled this guy and he shouldn't have, or he pitched Betances in the ninth and he shouldn't have. And then, well, lo and behold, he went and did it the next day. Like, and maybe it worked out. Maybe it didn't have the same result as the day before, but you're thinking to yourself, but why? Why would you do that, though? Just because it worked out this one time doesn't mean that it's going to continue to work out. So that's number one. He's not learning from his mistakes. Two is mishandling of the bullpen. He just doesn't. He doesn't have a feel for this bullpen. I think your Luis Severino example the other day was perfect and completely spot on. There was no need to take Sevy out of that game at that point. 80 pitches. You want to leave this is your ace. This is your would-be ace. You want to leave him in the game there to work out of that against a bad team. Like, it wasn't even, he was trying to work out of it against the Red Sox or the Astros or even like the Rays. He was trying to work out of it against a bad Twins team. And you yank him there, and he was pissed. And Severino was visibly pissed, and I don't blame him. And three, and I think this is actually my biggest issue with him, I've never seen a guy trot out more different lineup cards over the course of a season. It does not allow for, and I understand that there have been a lot of injuries. So, of course, when injuries come into play, you're going to have different lineups. But I've never seen a guy rotate players into as many different spots in the lineup on a daily basis as I have with this rookie manager. The lineup, it seems to be, and sometimes it's drastically different from day to day. I mean, really, guys can be all over the map in this lineup, and that drives me bonkers because that does not allow the players. Baseball players, more than any other sport, are creatures of habit. They're superstitious. You have to have a consistent lineup card, and it hurts the flow of the team. I think when you're trotting out guys and putting them into different spots in the lineup on almost a daily basis, it's imagine like coming into your job and somebody saying, well, you're going to do this today, but tomorrow you're going to do that, and then you're going to do this, and then you're going to do that. Oh, and then maybe next week we'll have you like completely working for a different department, but eventually we'll bring you back in. I mean, it's maddening. It's maddening. So for me, I can't give him any more than a C-. Frankly, I'm surprised I went that high because I have kind of bashed him all season. And I still believe he's responsible for at least a baker's dozen worth of losses this year. But I don't want to drill him too much. I'm giving him some leeway. I wanted to put him in the D's, but I gave him a little leeway because he is a rookie. but I am concerned about his inability to learn from his mistakes. And Damian, I'm sorry you don't agree with us, but you're wrong in this case. You may be the beautiful mind, you may know the Red Sox up and down, but if you give that guy any higher than a C-, you're out of your mind. I don't care how many games over 500 this team is, because I hate that so many Yankee fans keep going back to this record, this misleading record, and saying, look at this team. They're 35, 36 games over 500. Have you watched them? Because you have to watch them in order to know just how completely lackluster and non-competitive they are when they get down early in games. And that, to me, is also a reflection of the manager. But I'm sorry, they would have been – if Girardi had been the manager of this team, they'd be 4, maybe 5 games behind the Red Sox.
Tops.
Maybe even 3.
Yeah. And I, like I said, I don't think Girardi's a great manager. I just don't. I don't think he is.
I mean, we were both ready for him to be gone. We were both ready for Joe Girardi to be gone. I was walking out. I was with Cashman walking him out the doors. Thanks for the championship in 2009. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah.
But it was time. It was time.
It really was. And with Boone, I just, if you watch him on an everyday basis, and I watch a lot of Yankee games. That's just what I do. I mean, that's my favorite team in all sports. And I have just watched him over and over and over again make terrible decision after terrible decision.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I want to say something because I'm looking at Damian's comment here. How could you – there are even Red Sox fans who don't like Cora. Well, those people are idiots. Those are dum-dums. Get me dum-dum. Those are imbeciles. If you don't like what Alex Cora has done with that team, you're out of your mind. Because the funny part is, if you remember, you and I both wanted Alex Cora. But we knew because of when the Yankees were eliminated so late in the postseason last year that they weren't going to get a chance to go after him. You think it's a coincidence that the Red Sox jumped on him as fast as they did? Yeah. You think Dombrowski didn't know that the Yankees were going to be all over Alex Cora if they had gotten eliminated? If they had been eliminated both very early, I mean, those two would have been fighting for Alex Cora. Aaron Boone would not have been in this equation.
So what we are saying to Aaron Boone is you need to get right. And Damian said, somebody shut my light off, so I think that was my wife shutting all the lights off with Google. So she shut my lights off by accident.
No, I'm not making your point for you, Damian, because the point is that Boone is nowhere near as anywhere near on the level. Yeah. He's not on that level. First of all, Cora actually came in with managerial experience. He's been a coach. He's a bench coach. Boone had nothing. Boone has booth experience. Booth experience is not bench coach experience. I'm not making your point for you. I think I'm making mine clearly that Aaron Boone didn't even have a head coach, any kind of coaching experience on any level of baseball. None. I mean, at least Cora was the bench coach for a world champion team. Well, for 1 year, it doesn't matter. It was a year. That's one more year than Boone had. Boone had to sit up in a booth with those idiots at ESPN.
And he wasn't all that good.
No, he really wasn't. I think there's this sort of narrative out here that Boone was like really great in the booth. He was not.
Yeah.
He was all right.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing we can say about Aaron Boone, unequivocally, I would imagine. He's one hell of an interviewer because he pulled the wool over Hal Steinbrenner's eyes.
He did it over ESPN.
And he pulled it over Cashman's eyes. So he did something right. He definitely did something right.
Yeah.
But is he a good manager? No, man. Damian, I'm sure. I doubt that you've watched as many Yankee games as Shane and I have. We've seen this on a daily basis. We've had to watch this every day, and I'm telling you right now, he's just not. At this point, I'm not ready to cut him loose yet because I want to give him one more year. But at this point, I'm sorry, I can't say Aaron Boone is that good of a manager. The team has won despite him, not because of him.
Yeah. Damian said, what's funny is that I'm in the mind that my managers don't actually have a huge impact on wins and losses, especially not with in-game
But if you
decisions.
watch Boone, you might feel differently about that because I think you might feel like you and I do that he has literally cost them games.
He says a manager's job is to manage the clubhouse and deal with the media. Most of the in-game decisions come from the analytics and scouting departments.
Well, then that part sucks too because they're not doing well there either.
No, they're really not. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening today. We really appreciate it.
We ran over. Sorry.
I always love the back and forth between with Damien and us because he obviously has a different perspective because he watched the Red Sox on a regular basis.
He's the goddamn enemy. He's the enemy. I'm just kidding. We love him. Our show wouldn't be the same without him.
Definitely our Facebook page.
Can we save that as a drop, please? He's the goddamn enemy.
Oh man, now I have to go through and make an edit. All right, so
sorry.
It's fine. I will try and find it.
That's gonna be at roughly the 54 to 55 minute mark.
All right, I'll see if I can find it. Enemy of the people, he writes. Enemy of the people. All right, so thank you guys for listening. We will be back on Monday to go over what happened Sunday and what happens Monday night with Monday Night Football. We'll talk probably a little bit of Yankees again, maybe a little MLB. We'll see what happens over the weekend. And other than that, you can find the show on anywhere podcasts are played. That's iTunes, iHeartRadio, all those places. You can find us on our website, which is www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. You can find us on YouTube. Type in Sports and Sorts. Go ahead and subscribe to us there because we really are looking to get as many subscribers as possible. We are considering going live on YouTube, but I'm not sure if we're going to do that. I kind of like the Facebook format. And then on top of that, we will also, we do post all our videos. All these videos go onto YouTube as well. So if you don't get the chance to see it live, you can always watch it there as well. So go over there and subscribe. We're going to be posting more stuff, more commercials and all that kind of stuff sometime in the future. We're going to be making some stuff like that and posting them on the YouTube channel as well. So a lot of bonus content, I guess, will be on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to us. You can find me on Twitter at Einhornfinkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And you can find the show at Twitter, on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. No the in there, Shane and Bryman. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, where we go live every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Monday, 9:45. Wednesday, 11. And Saturday, did I say Friday again? Saturday at 9:45. So we do that 3 days a week. We come live for about 45 minutes, no longer than an hour, hopefully. This one's just under an hour. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. And we really appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Peace out, guys.
Stay classy, Athletic Club.
I got to do it for you just before we leave.
Boop, 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 boop. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You do know I like my aliens.
Yes, your alien music.
When they come.
Right here. It goes down there. Now they're. Do they walk down with a swag? I don't remember. They have like a swagger to them.
Okay. Actually, I think they walk out flossing.
Flossing?
But like a slow floss, though.
Oh, like a creepy floss?
Yeah, yes.
With major eye contact.
Yes, eye contact floss.
Yeah.
But just a nice, kind of.
It's almost like making you in a trance. You're kind of like sucked in by the eye contact flossing.
Yeah, right. You're not sure what to focus on, like the big eyes, the slim build, or the, I'm going right to like the stereotypical alien weave.
Like the American Dad kind of alien. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
See you later, guys. Always ending on a high note.
On a weird note.
Bye. You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.